last couple of videos you saw the bones go up. The post and beam structure is done, or at least for the most part it's done. I do have some more steel connectors to put in, and some other fastening systems to finish all those permanent connections. But for the most part, it's together, it's plumb, and it's square. And so now we get started with the cladding of the 2x6 TNG. This material is a number 3 rough subfloor material, and at the time I was able to purchase this material for about 52 cents a linear foot. So I mentioned that we are plumb and square, and in that process known as plumbing and lining, and if you're a framer, you're going to put up all of your braces to make sure that you lock everything into its final shape, meaning your vertical members have to be plumb, and your floor system, your roof system, your wall diaphragm, all of that needs to be square. And to ensure it stays that way while you're cladding, or in some other cases sheeting, you need to brace at 45 degrees. Or you can see here, I'm not exactly at 45 degrees for some of these braces, but it's still bracing those members, and so they're not moving on me while I'm climbing around doing all this work. Now here you'll see I'm putting up some temporary plastic for a little inclement weather. This is always the most gratifying part of these sorts of builds. For me, I just love the look and the feel of the wood, and the way that the design starts to come together when you start closing in the walls. It's a very dramatic turn of the page. It's just, you get an extra little wind in your sails, and it's just fun. When you start seeing things come together, it actually motivates you through the process, because it's a ton of work. It really is. Now, every time you see me swinging the hammer, I'm not necessarily hitting a nail here. I'm also pushing these relatively twisted boards into position and getting the tongue and groove to lock together. Then I nail it down. So as you can see, I've been building planks and rigging and platforms, and then tearing them down all throughout this process. And again, the time-lapse videos here are nice because you get to see things in a sped-up manner, but it really doesn't do justice to the amount of time that all this actually takes, of course. Something else I wanted to point out is that you'll notice the tongue and groove 2x6 that we're laying down looks relatively random. And for the most part it is. I'm not terribly worried about a perfect corner or my eaves being jagged at this point, because I'm going to cut all of those points back in some areas, and I have a secondary layer of plywood that I'm laying down because the engineer wanted some additional structural diaphragm installed, and I do that all with a Bostitch Tico nailer. Never did any sheeting with the Tico nailer, but first time for everything, so you'll see that shortly. But what you're seeing here is the first layer of the TNG, and then over that we'll have a vapor barrier, and then we'll have rigid foam insulation, and then we'll come over for a final cladding for the exterior. So it's a nice, thick, fully insulated, rigid foam house. Basically building a giant Coleman cooler. Anyway, hopefully that helps to inform some of you about what we're doing here, in case it seems random.
Good work, Willa.
Good carry it.
Okay. Careful. Right on. Good job.
On top of feeling good about seeing things close in just because of the look and starting to see the project come together, the real relief is knowing that I'm very close to getting the shell watertight, which is a real worry and a regular pressure as I approach fall. So the engineer was concerned a bit that the structural diaphragm that was created with the TNG car deck was not going to be quite adequate for the amount of wind shear we're going to pick up, and just the structural analysis of the diaphragm to him seemed borderline. And because he didn't have much time and I didn't have much time, we compromised and decided to just put on a layer of 1/2-inch plywood, nailed it down with Tico nails, and this made it easy for him to sign off quickly on the set of plans. And I didn't necessarily want to spend the extra money on the plywood, but I was going to spend a fair amount of extra time getting these things permitted if I didn't. So just came down to opportunity cost, and I decided to go with the plywood. Saved me some time, cost me a little more, but what is already a strong structure is going to be incredibly strong now, and eliminated all of the engineer's worries, and made it past the plans examiner's desk as fast as possible. These are just some shots of some of the crazy ladder rigging I did to get up on the roof. And as I said, I've never nailed off all this kind of plywood before with a Tico nailer. And here, of course, I'm installing the ice and water shield, and like I said, there's a lot of relief in getting these last layers on the roof. Even without the roofing material, I know that I'm going to be able to wick water away and stay dry inside. So this is a good day.
Keep your feet wide. There you go.
Working truly is learning.
Taking a little rest.
Yep.
All right.
Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll get into some insulation, some more vapor barrier, some roofing, and some more fun stuff. Till next time.